Hello, professional drivers, owner-operators, and trucking firms, and school bus companies. This is Dr. Richard Matthews. I'm a certified medical examiner bringing you information about DOT physicals and medical cards directly. So today we're going to dive into the issue of insulin-treated diabetes. And this is a significant one because in the past there's been a federal series of forms that took months to fill out to get a waiver, and it was a very difficult process. Almost nobody completed it. Now that has been shortened to one form, and the form is available on the FMCSA website if you just type in insulin-treated in the search box, or it's linked in the description below, or you can get it on my own website, also in the description below. If we look at the actual form, this is it. It's only 2-3 pages. It's really pretty simple compared to what it used to be. The important things about this form. One is that it must be completed by the physician that is prescribing the insulin. Second is that it must be completed and brought with you to your DOT physical. If it is not completed at the time of your DOT physical, your examiner may elect to not give you a card at all. They do have the option of giving you a 3-month card so that you can get compliant. Now, the purpose of this form is for your prescribing doctor to certify that you are compliant with the guidelines for monitoring and taking care of your blood sugar, and that you haven't suffered any major problems from blood sugar changes. So as we go through this, of course, there's who are you at the top of the form, date that you started using insulin, and then there's this section, blood glucose self-monitoring records. What this means is that you must present to your prescribing doctor 3 months of records from your blood glucose self-monitoring device, your glucometer, your blood sugar meter. And it has to be one that's electronic and stores all the data so that you can download the data. That doesn't just mean the device has to be able to do it, it means you have to be able to do it. So read the instructions if you're not good at those things. But you need to be able to record your blood sugar when you test it, preferably like before and after you eat, for example. And you need to be able to save the data on the device and download the data to your prescribing doctor and to your certified medical examiner. Now, your prescribing doctor is going to check one of two boxes. Have you provided the data or not? If you have not provided the data, he's basically saying that you're not compliant. Same thing here, okay, have you maintained it? And second question is, have you provided it? If you get no's in these boxes, it means you're not compliant. If your medical card is up, it's not the end of the world. You may be able to convince your medical examiner to give you a 3-month card so that you've got 3 months to actually get compliant. That is defined right here. I'm not just making it up. That if you don't have it at the certified medical examiner's discretion, they can give you a card for up to 3 months. The purpose of that card is not so you can just keep driving and not change anything, because you're not going to get a second one. The purpose of it is so that you can actually have a chance to get compliant while continuing to work, so you don't lose your job, so you don't lose 3 months of income, etc. So if that's you and your card is up and you haven't done this and you don't have the 3 months of records, my recommendation is that you ask your examiner for a 3-month card and then make an appointment with your prescribing physician for the end of that 3-month period, because you're probably not going to be able to get an appointment just the same day if you wait to the end of the 3 months and say, hey doc, can you get me in to fill out this 3-page form for my DOT card? They're probably not going to be able to do that for you. But schedule it ahead of time so you have everything set in place, and then start maintaining your blood sugar records. Hopefully you're doing things to try to help your health reduce your sugars, reduce your carbs, do some exercise, so you're actually doing things to help your blood sugar. But the purpose of this is so you see how to use the form and what the process is to become compliant. So they're going to ask you, how many times do you test your blood sugar, and are you compliant with your treatment plan? Now, your treatment plan is defined by your prescribing physician. So if your prescribing physician says you need to test your blood sugar once a day, or if they say you need to test your blood sugar 3 times a day or 6 times a day or whatever it is, that needs to be the answer to this question. It should be what you're doing. Follow your doctor's advice. We want to see as examiners that you're compliant, because then we basically just make copies of the form and file it away, and you get your card for longer than 3 months, up to a year. Now, this question, you want to see if the person has any hypoglycemic episodes. So have you lost consciousness, had a seizure, gone into a coma? My God, hopefully not, okay? And hopefully not if you're driving, but you need to tell your physician if you've had any problems. Even if you're just like severely hangry, it means your blood sugar's dropped a little too much. He may or may not consider that a severe hypoglycemic episode, but fess up and say what's going on. The bottom line is we don't want drivers, and drivers don't want to pass out while you're driving and plow into a line of cars and cause an accident that may change the rest of your life, as well as potentially killing several other people. And today it's January 20th, 2022, and we've actually seen something like that happen, although I don't think blood sugar was part of it, but it was national news. When we look at the other questions, your A1C is one of the questions. Have you had it measured in the last 12 months, most recently within the last 3 months? That should be a yes. Then you're supposed to attach the office visit or whatever that shows your A1C. Now, if you don't know what A1C is, it's a lab value that goes up if your blood sugar fluctuates a lot. So it's basically a lab value that rats you out if you're not controlling your blood sugar very well. The other half of that is that there isn't a specific A1C level that passes or fails you. Now, your certified medical examiner doing your physical may look at you and go, wow, your A1C is sky high, I'm not going to write you a 1-year card. He might only write it for 6 months or whatever they want. It's up to the examiner. But there isn't an A1C level where there's a hard rule where we have to fail you. It's a little bit weird, but there just isn't. It's up to us. Hopefully the idea is that we can see that you're working on controlling your blood sugar. If you control it really well, your A1C should come down. Now, the rest of the questions are, have you suffered any other health problems because of your diabetes? Kidney disease, diagnoses, cardiovascular disease, have you been diagnosed with ischemic attacks, strokes, anything? Any other neurologic problems, peripheral neuropathy, sensory loss? If your feet are numb from peripheral neuropathy, that might be important as far as, can you feel the gas pedal, the brake pedal, the jake brake? We want you to be able to feel what's going on under your feet. It doesn't mean that you can't drive, but certainly there's a point where if you have enough peripheral neuropathy, you may not be able to drive safely. Of course, lower limb, have you had anything amputated? I've seen some of this. If you haven't seen it and you're a diabetic, look it up on YouTube. It'll make you really stick to your diet and control your blood sugar. It's gruesome. Progressive eye diseases. Have you developed any diabetic retinopathy? Is your vision getting bad because of your diabetes? Now, to pass your DOT physical, you have to have at least 20/40 corrected in either eye. So even if you wear glasses, you have to be able to see 20/40 out of both eyes, and you have to have peripheral vision of at least 70 degrees in both eyes. You can have that and still have some degree of diabetic retinopathy, but if you get a lot of diabetic retinopathy, you may not be able to pass the vision part of the exam. So try not to let it get that bad. What can I say? The best thing is to actually control your blood sugar with diet and exercise. um, and medication where it's needed. If you do your diet and exercise properly, you can, in the long run, for a lot of people, get off of medication. But you do have to learn how to do it, and it does take some work. Probably harder if you spend all day driving. I get that. One way or the other, whether it's naturally or with medicine, you have to control blood sugar because everything in the body runs on glucose. And if it gets too low or too high, bad things happen. So the doc has a space here to attach any additional comments. Driver had a seizure in the waiting room, or really he seems good to go, or anything in between. And they sign the form. So what happens after that, you've got your form, it's filled out, you're compliant. You bring that form to your exam when you go for your medical card for your DOT physical, and you show the examiner the card, or the form filled out, and your examiner will verify, okay, you've got that. Probably take a peek at your glucometer, your blood sugar device, and verify, yeah, you're still checking your blood sugar since this. If you don't have any of it, they can give you a 3-month card so you can get this stuff done, um, and then do the rest of the physical division, blood pressure, and everything else. I would recommend, just out of practicality and convenience, that at the time that you schedule your DOT physical, if the scheduling person or the examiner doesn't ask, just say, yeah, I'm bringing it, I'm a diabetic and I have my assessment form, my insulin treated diabetes mellitus assessment form. I have it filled out and I'm bringing it in. Or if you don't have it filled out and you're not compliant, you probably want to let them know that ahead of time. One way or the other, it's just so that we can book a few extra minutes to get it done. Sometimes I have these physicals booked back to back, and it just helps from a practical point of view to know, what are we doing today. If there's extra forms, it takes just a little bit longer because we have to read it and make sure that we understand what's going on with this situation. But in any case, it's really good news for drivers that use insulin, because now the government has laid out a way for you to keep driving without doing 6 months of federal paperwork to get a waiver. Honestly, I only ever saw one person do it since 2014, when I started doing this and became a certified medical examiner. So if you have any questions about it, please leave them a message in the comments below, or get on my website and you can contact me that way if you either have a question, or if you're in southeastern Florida and you need your DOT physical. That is what we do. I can actually do a house call DOT physical, or at your trucking firm if that's okay with your boss, or if you own the trucking firm, I can come and get several of your drivers done right on site and get it done and out of your way. In any case, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you want to see more of this kind of content, give a like, click on subscribe. If you have questions and you want me to address something in the future, please drop a message in the message below in the comment section, and I will look at doing that in another video. Thank you, and drive safe.